Bradbury, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you today?
Doing fabulous as always, man. It's always nice when Friday comes around because I've got this, then it's just a couple of meetings, bit of doc review, and then it's the weekend.
I feel that I'm always excited about the weekend, even though it's actually not the way people normally say that. So when most people say this because they hate their job, and it's actually not that for me. It's more that the week is really frenetic. Is that the right word? Is that a word? Phonetic or phonetic? I think that's a word. Yeah. So it's very like really high intensity. And then during the weekend, I actually get to think again. I feel like I don't think very much during the week. So
Yeah.
I'm just in reaction, to a lot of previous thoughts, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
But
it's one of those
yeah.
weird things where whenever I have that conversation with people, I'm like, I love the weekends because people leave me alone. And it sounds like I'm really introverted, but it's really
Mhm.
just like, I think I've done like 50 or 55 hours worth of meetings this week. And like, I
Yeah.
don't do meetings on weekends. Like, I get to sit, I can catch up on doc review, I can relax, I'm not on
Yeah.
call for things. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I totally feel that. Well, I'm super excited about how this is all shaping up this program so far, and I don't know if there's anybody here that doesn't know what we're doing that's just joined the live stream, but we're still in stealth mode, so there's probably not very many people that have joined the live stream other than our program members. I've been excited because I just came out of a meeting where we actually had a couple of our new folks that are joining the program, which is really fun. We have some new facilitators that we're going to introduce today on this call. So we're going to kick it off, I guess, Paul, by just doing a bit of housekeeping. I guess getting people up to speed on some of the things that we've been working on, and really briefly introducing Darkhorse for anybody who missed the video reel that we just introduced ourselves with. But Paul and I are coaches here. We're both partners of Darkhorse Accelerator. Darkhorse Accelerator, if you will, is an accelerator for the rest of us. So why do another accelerator, you may ask? Well, we, to our knowledge, don't think anybody's doing an accelerator, or at least approaching it the way we are. We This is very much a passion project for each of us. A couple of things that make this unique is obviously the one thing here that we're going to be live streaming the entire program. So over 6 months, we have 20 plus entrepreneurs that are coming through, building out various projects. We're focused on a lot of direct to consumer projects that meet a triple bottom line value equation. So we're talking about people, planet, and profits in equal measure. So we're all about entrepreneurship and capitalism, but we also think that we have an environment around us that requires us to be a little bit more responsible than traditionally all businesses have had to be. And so we want to definitely make sure that we have some social and environmental responsibility baked into anything that we're building. So that has led to a whole way that we're approaching the program. We're spending a lot more time on leadership development and founder development, not just on company development. We're also spending a lot more time on communication and interaction and building a dialogue with the society that we want to basically build these companies into. So that's basically, I think, one of the main differences between this and typical programs. And then the other thing is the coaches are all entrepreneurs. We all have to have businesses in the market right now that are operating, hopefully at a profit as well. Like that's our goal, so that's something that I think is also unique. A lot of times in these programs, they're being run by retired entrepreneurs, which nothing wrong with that. But sometimes the world's changed really quickly, and sometimes the advice that I've been given, at least in some of the interactions I've had with past mentors and coaches and administrators of programs, is that I feel like it's a little bit outdated sometimes, right? And I hate to say that, but it's true. I mean, sometimes like the advice I'm getting, I'm like, is that advice from 10 years ago? Like I feel like I would be thinking like that 10 years ago, but I don't think I'm thinking about that in 2021. This is a little bit of a different ballgame.
Yeah.
And you get the curse of knowledge as well when you've sort of been in an industry for a long time and retired. And there's a lot of value that you can give to a new entrepreneur, but sometimes it's the gift and the curse because you're giving them really accurate knowledge, but again, it's a little dated. And so we like to still have anybody involved in the program, but the core coaches in the program are all active entrepreneurs. And so that's one of the things. And we also bring in some guest coaches that have different experiences, right? And then finally, we don't believe that you should start your company by learning how to just raise money. Okay, that's not like the only skill you need. And I think that that's pretty much the main emphasis of 90% of the programs out there. So they teach you how to pitch and get really good at convincing, folks that have some money to give it to you to experiment with. We actually think that you should be getting money to grow a business, that you should keep control of it as long as possible so you can make the difficult decisions that you often can't make when an investor is basically dictating whether the company is going to survive or not. It's going to put you into compromising decisions. And so we are getting you to build a company that is very autonomous. And guess who gets to fund your company? Your customers. I know it's a weird thing, but it's possible. So your customers get to fund your company. And guess what? That means you're probably building something of value. So these are the main things I think that are different about our program, other than the fact that we have a beautiful bald and beautiful hairy, that sounded really weird, but
What the hell, Avery? We've only been here for 7 minutes.
Dude, I'm bald too. We've got some really great bald coaches going on in the program.
Yep.
And so if you like bald guys, this is the program for you.
You know what? That's the marketing tagline, because you own a marketing company. So I'll happily defer to you of like, yeah, you know what? Most of our coaches are bald. It's a huge upside. There's an underserved need for bald coaches currently. Here is my spreadsheet on the data for it. Let's do it.
Exactly. See, I told you. I mean, you know what? I can't make this stuff up. I come up with these things all the time, and I don't know why people don't pay me more for this kind of stuff, right?
That's it, man.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, moving on. Let's. What do we have in store today, Paul? What are we going to be doing?
From the looks of it, doing a bit of an intro on some of the new EIRs that have come in. It's either as primary or supportive, depending if memory serves. I think that we're talking about a bit of a roundtable or panel on supporting new startups and kind of some of that stuff, because I know that we're also going to dig into some of the coaches' stories at some point, I think, in the coming weeks as well, just for context. Which I'm actually super excited about, because, I mean, outside of the fact that I love talking about myself and all of the mistakes that I've made over the last 10 or 15 years, I think it's really educational. Even my seasoned entrepreneurs that are working with us at the incubator right now, they still have bad days. Pretty much all of them have had really stressful, overwhelming feelings, and just, the mental health aspect of this definitely comes in at some point. And, most places and most programs, most coaches just say, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just bury it down deep somewhere. Like, no, no, that doesn't help at all. And then we've got, I think the last half of the show is on the assignment review and feedback, if memory serves, as well. And, awesome. Just for a bit of context as well, because, I talked to one of the EIRs about the bullseye for marketing, right? That's one of those things that's been around for a long time, but all of the permutations and the work that kind of comes out of it is super important. So once you have that context of all of the evolutions of it over the last, let's call it 10 years, in terms of that approach and methodology, you look at content syndication, and you look at some of the methodologies of being able to evolve, and then you throw some Kaizen in there where you're improving consistently in terms of the processes and whatnot, then everything makes a lot more sense, right? But each of those layers has been added on. Every 2 years it evolves into something else, or there's an extra add-on, or there's more context, or there's more something else. So I'm really interested to see what our EIRs have kind of come up with, and as we go through that stuff later.
You had me at Kaizen.
I know, man. There's certain buzzwords that just get it for you.
Very, very cool. Very cool. That's very exciting. Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked to get into it with you. Let's bring in our first victims. I think the other coaches are going to be joining us pretty sure. Actually, no, are we? We're starting with introducing some of the new folks that are in the program, correct?
Yeah, it's the new EIRs and some of the new facilitators as well. So we only have one in the backstage right now. So if you are one of those people that is supposed to be here, feel free to hop backstage. Link is in Slack if everyone needs it. But please turn your camera on whenever you're there, just to make sure that you're actually actually here.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you could, and anybody who is not new, other than I guess we can actually bring Rachel in as well. She can say a quick hi again, because she's going to be helping us out on the facilitation side.
Fabulous.
But if you're any of the program EIRs that are working on your projects, if you could maybe step out of the Accelerator backstage for now, just to make room for some of the new folks, because we want to introduce them to you. and to the rest of us. And then we'll get the coaches in a quick roundtable. We'll talk about all the stuff we're working on and all the challenges we're having as basically moonlighting from our day jobs, if you will.
Well, it's always fun when I have to explain what my day job is to people, because like I
Yeah.
genuinely believe people I've known for 15 years since high school, they have no idea what I do for a living.
Yeah, I know. It's the same thing. I have fun, chatting with my old friends that sort of remember me as sort of the slacker college kid or whatever, and college dropout, and now they're like, "What do you do again? I don't get it." So yeah.
Oh yeah, see,
Um,
I did it better, I think, Emery. Just for future reference, when you do this all again, I just didn't keep any of my friends from university.
I hear you. You know what? I mean, I have a hard time, man. I have a hard time keeping up with like my family, like my mom and my sister. I try to make the call at least once a week, and I have a hard time sometimes because I'm like, so friends. They're like a bonus, if I get a chance to see my friends every couple of months, and
Yep.
that sounds really bad, but honestly, like it's a trade-off. Anything, while we're waiting for these folks to come in, maybe we'll share a bit of war story. But if you're doing entrepreneurship, it seems glamorous on the outside looking in. Once you're doing it, you realize you're doing it because you have no choice. And I say that in the best possible way, but it's exactly what's happening. You have no choice for two reasons. Number one, because you're probably now wired up, or you've always been wired up in some cases, to basically not have given yourself any new choice, any alternative options after you're in it. But here's the other thing about it. Now you're obsessed with it. You can't stop thinking about it. It becomes pretty much like your life. It's not like a job where you get to go, you know what, it's 5 o'clock, guys. You know what, let's hit the pub or whatever and forget about this until Monday morning. If you meet an entrepreneur that can forget about their project till Monday morning, man, like you have to introduce them to me, because like I want to like learn their secret, because I've never met one. Like it's just so hard. Like, and I mean, there's the good and the bad to that. Like everything, I'm not one of those people that believe, Paul, that something that is good and therefore it's not bad. It's like everything is on a spectrum, and it's like there's two sides to that coin, right? So the fact that I'm passionate about what I do and I get up every morning and I'm excited about it doesn't mean I don't have really shitty days, which I do on a regular basis, and or shitty experiences in the day, is maybe even more accurate. The ups and downs, right? 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward and 3 steps back in some cases.
I've stopped trying to map it on like the XY axis, because like you need the forward and backwards. Like it depends on the day. And like I think it's so interesting because it's not quite an infatuation, but it's even one of the companies that I work with, I advise for them. It was the guy's birthday over the weekend, right? So I took him out to dinner, and like we hung out and had a few drinks afterwards, and like probably 85% of the time we were talking about work, and we were talking about market saturation, because it's fascinating, because there's data, because there's something we can do better, because if I'm going to go relax somewhere and I can work simultaneously, like I'm just in my happy place at that point, right? Like it's constantly being challenged regardless of what I'm doing. And if that's over a beer, if that's on a walk, if that's pacing around my house or taking my dog out, like it doesn't really matter what it is. It's time to think. And usually when you love something or you're obsessed with it, because every company becomes very, very personal, especially the first one you've had. Like I'm still emotionally attached to the first company I built when I was 16, I think. I mean, it was a terrible company, but like I'm emotionally attached to it, right? Like I still have some of the product in my house, and it's really hard to kind of transition out of that at any point, right? Like if your livelihood, if my ability to eat is based off of how successful something is or how effectively I can do sales for something, it's really hard to kind of comprehend that when you're not in it. Because every time that I talk to someone, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur of my own companies. It's like, oh, like you must be able to take so much time off. Like you can set your own schedule. Like, yeah, and like my boss is a dick. Like I worked 15 hours yesterday at my own volition. Like this is like I'm worse than working somewhere else at this point, because again, like if I don't want to eat instant noodles, especially when I was younger, like I have to work. If I want to go out for dinner, that money has to come from somewhere, and that's me working, and that's me generating business or a sale or whatever for my company. And it's really hard to get away from that regardless of where you go.
I think you're right. And I mean, you know what? We're making it sound like don't do this. EIRs, maybe, but I will give you the other side of that coin too. I've been fortunate enough to be able to take like a month off, and just, rarely, because most of the time I just can't do that. But if you build a great team around you, the whole goal here is to work yourself out of it, the day to day in some respects. Now you can choose not to do that. I don't advise that, because then, again, you're on the treadmill forever unless you're trying to sell the company or something. But what I would suggest is that you build a company that has processes in place and folks, team members in place as well, that allow you to actually leave the business for a couple of weeks or a couple of months and come back, and it's better than when you left it. That's the goal. Okay. And so I think, we're going to hopefully help, advise on that direction. A lot of this is achievable, and you'd be surprised, because it's actually not that much harder than just building the business without having any of that infrastructure in place. If you started off right in the beginning, it becomes a habit, and then it's just really easy to follow the habit. If you don't, and then it becomes like a cluster, you know what I mean? Then it's one of those things that you basically have to, spend a lot of time to figure out in the future. If you want to try to sell it, or if you want to try to, get into a place where you can actually leave the company for any period of time. Even a weekend becomes difficult if your company doesn't have any infrastructure that's organized. So, you get to build this the way you want to build it, and there's no rules technically other than, a profit and loss statement or at the end of the month or whatever. But basically, if you decide to build this and make your life extremely miserable and difficult, that's possible. You can also make your life much more easy than, over time. Again, not in the beginning. In the beginning, it's going to be hard, but over time, you can make your life much more easy than a counterpart that's selling the same thing but using an inefficient system. So that's one thing I've learned. Yeah.
I think that it's really important to note too that there tends to be a really strong negative connotation towards it. Like, you have to work yourself into the ground. You have to do this. You have to do that. And, I'm not going to say that my success or Emery's success is based off of us doing that. Like, that just kind of fits into our personalities, right? Like, I mean, we got to the point with, like, the incubator that I work for, that I'm a partner at, and all of the companies that we work with and we kind of own in our Venture Labs program and all of that. It got to a point where it was sustainable enough that I didn't need to do day-to-day 70 hours a week. But then Emery and I got a hold of each other, and now we're here. So even though we got to the point where it's fine, and that's it.
That's hilarious.
Then we found something else, and then we've got another company that we're going to launch, through the incubator in like 6 or 7 weeks now, just because we thought it was a super cool idea. Like, it's just, for us, that's the way we function. And you don't have to be like us. You can run a very successful e-commerce store. I know a few entrepreneurs that do that, and they make solid money. They make $60,000 or $80,000 a year, and they just do them, and it's their brand and their methodology and their process, and they can sustain their lifestyle, and they're happy, and that's amazing. Like, you don't have to go and try to build $1 billion company. You have to build what works for you. And last time we talked about our authenticity a whole bunch as well, because it's important. And, don't try to fit yourself into a box or into a methodology. Like, I have failed successfully for a very long time, but it does not make me a great standard for being an entrepreneur by any means. The same way that Emery is not necessarily a great standard, because when you're comparing it to you as a person and the way that you do things, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. We can give you best practices in the toolkit, but at the end of the day, it's kind of on you.
Yeah. That's some great advice for people. It's like, just own what you are. And it's, I continue to have that conversation with our EIRs just directly on different projects. It's like, we're not trying to get you to be somebody else. But we do have a system for you to be able to model greatness, because I do believe that that's a secret weapon that you can adopt as an entrepreneur as well, which allows you to still be yourself, but modeling other folks. I mean, you're not going to be the next X, but you're going to be your own version of X. Let's put it that way, right? And so that's the thing that we really aspire to. And when Paul talks about best practices and frameworks, that's what we're talking about. Let's not give you just any framework, because honestly, Paul and I know there's a lot of garbage out there too, right? There's a lot of noise there's a lot of noise to get to the signal. And you know what? Hopefully, this program will get you through. That doesn't mean everything that we're going to introduce you to is going to be the best possible thing that you could ever imagine for that particular task. However, because we've had been fortunate enough to have gone through a lot of the the grime, we can give you a couple of things that are like, hey, you know what, this is better than 25 other things that we've tried to do this. And so at least we've discounted all that for you. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. It's all, out of the way. This is the best we currently know and have. And this is an open conversation. And as Paul mentioned in the beginning, it's Kaizen, it's continuous improvement. So if there's something that can replace what we're currently doing, we love to bring that in and disrupt ourselves. That's the key to a great startup, is always looking to replace outdated ideas, and outdated conviction, right? Like you don't have to commit to something forever. You can just use it as long as it works for you. And then if something else comes along that's better, let's bring that into the process.
Yeah. And that's when you hear about pivoting in companies and the speed of startups relative to larger companies, that's really what we're talking about, right? When you have larger companies that you're competing against, they tend to turn like an oil tanker. They're football fields long. They can get there, but it takes time because there's approvals, there's shareholders, there's a lot more barriers for them to accomplish the same thing that you can do in sort of like a 10-minute conversation of like, hey, I think this is a good idea. Should we do it? Yeah, okay. And then you just go and do it. And that's a huge advantage that I think that entrepreneurs have over everyone else. And it's interesting. It's terrible. It's horrifying occasionally. But I'd rather not do anything else.
Yeah, like I said, it's a force function for me now of life. It's the thing I'm going to do. I'm
unemployable at this point.
Absolutely. I'm going to say a quick hi to a few of the folks that are on our live stream here. So nice to see you, Chandrika, Extension, Carla, our facilitators at Darkhorse Accelerator. Nice to see you. Thanks for pinging us on Facebook here. If you're watching, say a quick hi. Put a little emoji in it for us so we can see you and say hi to you every so often. It makes me happy whenever I see a little emoji pop up. I'm like, I get excited. Yeah. Even the bad ones, even the ones where you're crying and angry.
I don't think any of our advice or any of our talks or conversations are so bad to the point where there is tears happening somewhere. Yeah.
Demon horns and stuff,
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine with
me. Cool, awesome, guys. So we're gonna jump into it. We're gonna introduce you. Hey, Stanley, nice to see you. Shamsia, nice to see you. Hey, John, nice to see you. Awesome, cool. This is exciting. Okay, we're gonna get into it, guys. Let's roll the drum beat. Oh, that was a really bad drum beat, but you get it. I was gonna smash my computer here and probably flip it off the table. So let's not do that. And
I'll edit it in post. It's fine.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is not real time, right? We have like a 2-second.
Oh yeah, no, I'm on a beach this weekend. Actually, I got to Panama for a few days during the pandemic. It's great.
Awesome. Hamani, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Marzia, Tubby Mash, nice to see you. Hamza, nice to see you. Awesome. Very cool. Let's do a little video and then bring in our first new EIR to introduce to everybody. And I think that can get everybody juiced up, hopefully.
Yep. And just as a bit of a heads up for everyone, it looks like it's going to be Andrea Marzia. Mm-hmm. Perfect. I see her nodding. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. And then we've got Gabriel afterwards, just so everyone knows what the order is. But we'll see you after the mid-roll here.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you, Andrea?
Hey, I'm fine, and you?
Awesome, thanks. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're actually you're actually. We just had a meeting, as you know, Andrea, and we're doing some onboarding before this, getting organized for the program, and we couldn't get your lovely persona on camera. So I'm so happy that we figured it out. I think Paul's a much better facilitator than I am at this stuff. So I'm glad that you're here.
Well, I don't have to focus on anything. It's brilliant because I know you're going to talk. You have 1,000 things to say. So I'm like, yes, controls of the live stream. Fantastic.
Nice way of saying I have a big mouth, but thank you. Yeah,
we're all about the backhanded compliments here.
Absolutely. So Andrea, thank you for joining the program, and we're super excited to have you. You're our first Belgium EIR, which is is it Belgium? Yeah, EIR. Yeah, that's right. So we'd love you to just say a quick hi to the rest of the team and anybody else who's watching.
Okay, so hi, my name is Andrea, obviously, and I'm come from Belgium, but actually I studied in Belgium. I have a master's degree in law, but I'm living in Luxembourg, but no one knows where is Luxembourg, so that's why I say Belgium. And yeah, so I study law here in Belgium, and now I'm going to Toronto next month, normally, if everything's okay. And yeah, I'm so happy to join this program because I would like to be an entrepreneur myself. Because now I'm just helping my mom with her company, and yeah, I would like to know more about it, but not in the family atmosphere. So that's why I'm really happy to join this entrepreneurship program. And yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrea. Well, that's a beautiful introduction, and you've got a deadly combination: your interest in entrepreneurship and some of the experience you have there, and then law. Those are really good. Those are really good ingredients for success, from my experience. At least the few entrepreneurial lawyers that I've met are quite formidable. Formidable is the word I was looking for there.
Perfect for me.
So we're excited to have you, and it's cool because I think your mother's company is doing e-commerce stuff, which is great because that's exactly a lot of the projects that we're going to be working on here together. So Andrea is actually going to be joining us as one of it's a brand new role here. It's basically we're going to call it the crew. So we have basically the EIR crew, and then we've got the EIR talent. Why are we doing that? Because we're thinking of ourselves as a little bit of a show, a little bit of an experience for folks. That's what we're rolling out. And like all good shows, there's a lot of background stuff that has to happen. And the cool thing is that entrepreneurs that are in this program with us, working on their own individual projects, are getting an experience. But there's a whole other experience of building the startup that's helping to facilitate these startups, which is a Darkhorse Accelerator. And we found, and actually we're going to get into this with the other coaches, we found that we actually are having a bit of a challenge here doing this at the level that we want to do it with the available resources that we have in terms of time as the head coaches. And so we have invited a few other EIRs that want to learn entrepreneurship to come and work with us to help support all of the folks that are going to be coming through the program. And so Andrea has been very, gracious with, her interest and also her skill set, and she's coming in to help us out. So we're really excited to have her, and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you on the other side. I know we just came out of a great meeting. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about that when we get into the coaches roundtable, because we got a bunch of stuff organized together thanks to you and the other new EIRs. So we'll be hopefully giving some of the coaches a bit of a run for their money. Let's see what happens, but I'm excited to see what the new EIRs can bring to the table here.
Yeah, I'm very excited to start everything and see how is the entrepreneurship stuff and everything. So yes, I'm very excited.
Awesome. And Chandrika and Shamsia, two of our EIRs, they said hi. They wanted to say a quick shout out to you. And hi, I'm sure everybody else says hi too.
Hi, Chandrika. Hi, Shamsia.
So yeah, awesome. Well, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I still have to figure out
Awesome.
how to transition out of that properly, where it's just like, all right, bye now, and like everyone's so wonderful sometimes, like it just feels a little bit awkward, but it's okay. I've been a production assistant at Darkhorse for 2 weeks with a whole 2 weeks worth of experience, so it's been
It's a
good.
lifetime. It's a
Oh,
lifetime.
absolutely, right? I'm clearly an
Lifetime
expert
in
at my craft.
insect years or something, right? Lifetime in like fly years.
Where's my exit multiple when I need it, eh?
Exactly. Awesome. Who else do we have to talk to?
We have two more. Hello.
Oh, hi, Marzia. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Awesome. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So, Marzia, before we talk about what you're doing with the program, because you're actually coming into, you're going to be working on two projects with us that you don't even know about yet. I'm going to be surprising you today with two new projects that you're going to be working on. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, your interest in entrepreneurship?
So I have moved to Canada recently from Muscat, Oman, and I have been working as a graphic designer. And since I moved to Canada, I've been running kind of a home baking business. So those are my two interests. I like to be creative, and I like to bake cakes and all the other treats. Yeah, that's what I've been doing so far. And other than that, I'm learning digital marketing, and I'm working on my portfolio at the moment. And of course, and I'm doing this program as well, which will hopefully in the future help me start my own business over here in Canada.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a great background and lots of good skills that you're combining together. Some really unique ones too. I mean, food and cooking and then design and marketing. So some good stuff. Marzia, we're going to be getting you to join us on a couple of projects. So you're going to be leading up a project which is a infused water brand that we'll be introducing you to. So I'm going to be taking you through a bit of a background on that, but basically it's going to be really healthy spring water that's infused with vitamins, and a social cause as well or two that it's going to be helping to support, and all sustainable packaging and all sorts of fun stuff like that, called the Glow Elixir. And the other project that you're going to be supporting is Haven Nutrition, which is being led by Shamsia, and Chandrika is also supporting her on that. So you'll get to work with them, and they're going to need some help in the kitchen. So you're going to be able to help them with putting together some samples, hopefully for some of the Darkhorse team, especially anybody who's in the GTA area. I'm down here in South Africa right now, so I'm here with about half the crew is here, half the coaches and half of the EIRs are sort of on this side or somewhere else, but the other half are down in Canada. So hopefully you can get some samples out to them.
Looking forward to it. I'm
awesome.
Excited. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you here, and everybody's saying hi. Shamsia and Chandrika just said hi. They're excited to work with you. So awesome. Well, we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Just to be clear, because I don't think this has been said so far, Emery, and I think this is really important for anything that's food related, especially. I will happily sample anything that REIRs come up with. Don't listen to Emery; it doesn't need to go anywhere else. Just bake me, send me stuff. I'll happily tell you what it is, or I'll even lie to you about it. That's fine, as long as the free food keeps coming. I have no issues.
If he was in another area, he'd be a professional poison tester, is what he's trying to say. Like, basically, it doesn't matter what you send him, he'll eat it.
Well, I feel like that was not a very prestigious job back in the medieval England times. I would say I believe they used to have like squires or something of the sort that actually tested food beforehand for poison.
But it was great until it wasn't, right? It was great like 99% of the time. And then one day it just wasn't very good. It wasn't a great job all of a sudden, right? It's like entrepreneurship, right? It's 99% of the time it's great, and then there's that 1%.
See, I was going to say it's like slow rolling Russian roulette, and then you're like, oh, it's like entrepreneurship. I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't say that. All right, so we got, I believe, one or two more individuals left, but Gabriel is coming up on the onto the stage here.
Awesome.
Gabriel, how are you?
Good, yourself? How you guys doing?
Gabriel, nice to see you, man. I love your. I feel like you and Paul coordinated because the background of our live stream is
Oh.
exactly matched to your room, and that's phenomenal to me. That's a pretty impressive feat. So, thank you, Paul, for going the extra mile with getting everything sort of matched out for us. I like it. I like it.
It was super weird because I'd never really met or talked to Gabriel. And he's like, "Hey, man, I've got to put all these lights up for this live stream. Can you come over to my house?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So we bonded over 14 hours of LED hangings. It was great.
So I have to thank you. I have to thank you then, Gabriel. So I guess you just saw that we had this background and you're like, okay, I'm ready. And you just like quickly assembled, like your system.
I actually had a blue light on earlier. I'm not gonna lie, I did switch it.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm impressed. That is like the true definition of entrepreneurship. You're just like prepared for like any inevitable opportunity, so the very, very cool. I like it a lot. So, Gabriel, why don't you just briefly introduce yourself to the rest of the EIRs, anybody else who's watching the program?
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually still studying for my business degree. I'm up at Wilfrid Laurier University, if anyone knows where that is here in Ontario.
Nice.
So alongside my studies, I've also been doing like a few startup projects. I have one right now with my sister. It's an online magazine. We call it Conversationally Speaking. It's basically aiming to kind of have like articles posted on certain issues, certain subjects going on in the world, economics, politics, anywhere, anything. And it's aiming to kind of spark a debate, but like a polite, like a nice debate to kind of discuss the actual issue, what's going on. And so it's been doing pretty good so far as well. I'm pretty excited for that. And I've also been working alongside my dad to kind of help him with his own company he's working on. He's working on kind of an amalgamation of a few companies to make a huge thing. I'm not really 100% sure, but that's all him. I'm just helping him like back end stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all me.
That's funny. How you described your dad's company, Gabriel. That's how I describe my life. It's like, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff going on, and I don't really know what is happening, but I think I'm doing something here, and there's a few people back there that are helping or something. And,
I think that's a great start for you, Gabriel, because usually my answer is like, "What do you do for a living?" It's like, "Well, how long do you have?"
Nice. Yeah. So, well, welcome to the program. Really excited to have you. We just got out of a little bit of an onboarding session where we kind of introduced. Did I scare you, by the way, when I showed you all the stuff that we're trying to work on there with you?
No, not right away. It was a bit. I wasn't expecting it, but it was actually pretty exciting. I wasn't scared. Not yet.
Okay, good. I didn't overwhelm you. It wasn't like he's not showing up now to the next call, because it's like that one was like burned him out already, like 30 minutes later, So I'm glad. So a lot of the stuff that we have on that long laundry list, we're going to get into in a few minutes with the coaches. I'm going to sort of go through a bit of the stuff that we're working on for the program. This is a great insight because everybody here that's working on a project has to have their own laundry list of things that they need to get accomplished in a very short amount of time. And so Darkhorse is no different, right? And so that's why Gabriel is actually joining us as another one of the crew members. He's not afraid, as he said, and he's going to be coming in to help all the other entrepreneurs succeed. And anybody who's watching the program, anybody that eventually finds this and wants to start a company, hopefully the things that we introduce here are going to help all of us become more successful in our own manner. We have Chandrika who's saying, that's the spirit. Welcome to the program, Gabriel. And hello, welcome, Gabriel from Shansia. So you've got you're getting the warm welcome already. So I think everybody's looking forward to you helping them.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. Thanks, guys, for the welcome.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So I believe we have one more left. We have Hasham.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, let's get Hasham on.
Yeah, and then I think the slightly more pressing question is, should we bring Zav up here to do this with us or not? Because I'm always on the fence with the guy. He's better dressed than I am. He's got a better smile. Yeah. He's just generally a piss off.
Yeah, he's too friendly. He's too friendly. I've told him that too many times. You know what they say about nice guys? They finish last, and we're a Darkhorse. We're a championship program. We got to finish first. Zav, you got to be mean.
I don't even know if that's possible, man. Here, I'll bring him up though. Hey, Zav.
But if you're bringing Zav up, what about Carla? You're not inviting the ladies to the program? Like, what's
Carla
going on
is
here?
not backstage. Kyla is not backstage.
Oh, Carla. Oh, well, I'm seeing her on Facebook, so at least she's on Facebook. So thank you, Carla,
Yeah, no,
for
she's
joining Mark
giving me a hand
Zuckerberg
on
and
the
all
back
his
end.
friends.
Hey
Awesome.
guys, what an intro! Wow.
Nice to see you, Zav.
Today's theme is backhanded compliments, Zav. So we're happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we like to do a little hazing every so often with each other, guys. So this is live, but this actually happens.
You gotta
when we're
grow
not,
thick skin.
on camera too.
Yeah, I think it's just us sort of perpetuating our own misery, stress, and loneliness of entrepreneurship somehow with people that are also suffering, miserable, and lonely. It's good.
Well said,
Awesome.
Paul.
So Zab, how are you feeling about things? How are you feeling about before we introduce Hasham? How are you feeling about the background that we're using here today?
I like it. It has especially the misty purple with the blue going across. That's definitely my vibe.
Nice. But seriously, in all seriousness, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm gonna put my I wish I had a monocle so I could, or a pipe or something so I could go.
I don't know if we have enough time for that, but okay.
It looked like it was raining, like it's raining here. It's like cold here too, by the way. It's like winter here, but
Same here.
It looked like it was raining when I saw you earlier. So, so Canada, man, what's going on? It's summertime. We have an excuse. It's winter here, so we have an excuse.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe you guys can share. But for me, when the weather gets like fluctuating so fast, like it's super hot, we had heat warning, and then it's like getting cold, like fall weather. It affects my mood. I haven't figured it out, but I feel like it does affect everybody's mood. Like the whole mood of the city changes, just people's pace. What do you guys think? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. I was miserable yesterday. You guys saw. I was really grumpy.
Really?
We had you and I had a call. Remember, I got all like I
didn't really notice, but until you mentioned it was also rainy and cold over there. I was like, oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I did have I do think the weather affects me for sure, 100%. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I was really motivated to come down to South Africa for the winter, to come down here to do some business down here, because I know myself and I get depressed during the winter in Canada. I love Canada in the summer, right? But as soon as the winter comes, man, I notice my mood changes. So I tried it one year. I went down to Latin America for like several months to escape the winter. And I was like, I'm doing this every year now. I was like, and I didn't get a chance to do it the next year because of work and whatever. But the year after, I definitely did it. I came down here and I've been pretty happy about that decision. Other than, the fact that, you miss family and stuff like that sometimes and everything, but everything's a trade-off.
I miss you too, Emery. It's okay, man.
Paul, do you get affected by the weather?
Less so, I think. And it's not for a healthy reason either. It's mostly just because, at least recently, I've just been working. If I'm going out and I'm trying to relax and get away from stuff, or I'm sitting on a patio, or I'm just having coffee with a couple buddies or with people that I work with, I'm out of the house. Weather just doesn't really faze me. I feel like if I'm active and I kind of just work through it, I don't pay it any energy. I tend to be better off with that. But yeah, there's absolutely days where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go for a hike today. It's gonna be fantastic. I've got some great trails that sort of lead through all of downtown Toronto near my house. And if I'm super hyped and I've been looking forward to it, I've made that block of time out, which is super hard in my schedule. And then it rains. I hate everyone for the rest of the day. It's, exercise is super important. Taking care of self is such a huge thing for me. And, when I do sort of put all that together and then it doesn't work out. I hate everything. I hate everyone. I want to sit and pout and just be kind of pissed off and irate for a day. All right. I know I sarcastically say that my day's ruined off of a bunch of things. Susa Hosh will happily say, oh yeah, my day's ruined. My email took too long to load. But no, that actually ruins my day.
No, it's interesting because we don't talk about things at the surface much, but little things like weather, it makes all the difference in our performance, day-to-day performance. It's interesting. But let's jump right into the next.
I think Carla might have joined us. I think I saw her message us privately.
She did. And, I just as she hops on here, I'm going to say thank you, Carla, for sort of organizing and helping on the back end there. It's awesome. You're wonderful.
Hi.
Thank you as always.
Nice to
Thank
see you. Always lovely to see you, Carla. We can never get enough of Carla, and I work with her, and I can say that honestly. I work with her a lot. She's one of my colleagues down here in South Africa, where we do a lot of my partner in crime down here. We're doing a lot of stuff down here. That's fun. Carla, how's it going?
Yeah. Good. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Surviving.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. And what are you up to today, Carla? How's your day been?
It's been a day, but good overall. It's been good. Just a lot to do, and sometimes it's a bit challenging to prioritize, especially between like actual business and Darkhorse on the side. Sometimes I find myself wanting to do the more fun things instead and pushing the less fun things to the side, which are actually more important. But overall, it's been a good day.
I've got good news for you. We actually just brought in some EIRs to do all the non-fun things now. So we're good. You can just only work on the fun things now.
Well, that works for me.
I'm really trying to push these ERs out of the program as quickly as possible. See if we can have like a competition for how fast can you like quit something that you just started. No, but honestly, I know the feeling, Carla, for sure. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Last survivor, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna turn this into a different type of reality show.
Oh we're that's great. We're gonna do 4 hours every week where we just shit on everyone that will come and join us. Like the worst apprentice knockoff ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
Awesome.
you're bald, obviously. Then fantastic. Yeah, see, that's it. Like Sav, you're almost there, man. Like we're so close because you're not on brand right now. Like we have guidelines that Carla spent so much time sorting out pertaining to hairstyles for employees, and you're dropping the ball for the rest of us here.
I have to keep up with you guys.
It's tough, man. It's tough, But okay, we're gonna get into it in a little bit because I have some sort of updates to share and just sort of an open conversation with the coaches here. But before that, we're being very rude because we actually have somebody on standby that is new to the program who's supposed to do all of the the work that Carla doesn't want to do. So we have to bring that person in so that they can formally meet each other.
That's one, and I say this genuinely out of love, Emery. That is a horrible introduction and pretext for someone to come up to the stage.
I don't feel as bad anymore.
Well, see, there's that being nice again. But you know what? I feel great about this.
I've got a machine gun going on today. It's like it's hitting everybody. Everybody's getting blasted. Getting blasted.
I mean, I've got 10 minutes to hop up before the coaches part when you aim that at me, so it's all good. But let's bring him up to the stage here.
Hello, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, man? Nice to see you, brother.
Yeah, I got.
Oh,
it looks like your audio dropped out there.
Yeah, so I want to apologize for joining late. I thought the meeting would be on Facebook, so.
No problem at all. It's a bit of a process. There's backstage, there's side conversations, there's in-restream private chats, there's all of like the Slack conversations we have. It's a bit much. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even know what's going on here, Hasham. So you know what? Like you're a step ahead of most of us.
And way to give the production team a hard time, Emery. Like, what did we do to you this week, man?
I like I told you yesterday, I was pissy. I'm just bringing it back into today. Like I want to,
the transitive property of irritation.
It's continuity. It's continuity. Right?
Continuity. Nice.
So Hasham, this is not about us. This is about you. We put you on the spot here. Why don't you tell us, first of all, wonderful to see you as it was a short time ago. But why don't you just say a quick hi to the rest of the EIRs and the rest of the coaches and let them know a little bit about your background, what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. So my name is Hashan.
Wow. So
Awesome.
he won. He was
That
the
was
first
a quick
one to like just
introduction.
exit the program.
You know, Emery, I think we need like a speedrunners clock somewhere. Like we'll throw it up in the corner. Where am I? Over here somewhere instead of the live screen. Just like, yeah, it'll be great.
Well, that
Well,
just
this is what
happened.
we do best. We help people get to start to exit.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. That was good. That was
That's
good.
fantastic.
Absolutely. That was good. I think that actually should be part of our if we could put an ad together, like that should have been it right there. It's like, look how fast we can get you from start to exit. Just happened. Hisham, how's it going, man? You're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I think it's probably Paul's fault, but you know what? We'll forgive him.
You know, and I'll tell you a great secret, Emery. It's absolutely not.
For once.
For once. Oh yeah,
exactly.
no, for once, absolutely. Yeah, no,
Awesome.
it looks like his connection just
I'm going to
fluctuating.
pretend I'm Hisham. Hi guys, I'm Hisham. I'm here in Toronto, and just joined this program. You guys are kind of strange, but
Yep.
I'm rolling with it. I'm excited about doing all the work that Carla doesn't want to do. Anything she needs me to do, I'm here to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys when I get my technical stuff figured out. And by the way,
hey, Sham,
I've got a
super
phone call
important
going.
question. How did you actually want to join this program? Like, we have this really, really difficult, almost insufferable sometimes person that runs this program. How did you overcome that to join us here?
Well, you know what? I was fortunate because that person didn't interview me, and I just found out he was running the program. And luckily, he wasn't in the interviews, or I probably wouldn't be here. But now that I'm here, I've signed the contract. I didn't read the small print, so I'm assuming that I'm going to get in a lot of trouble if I try to leave the program. So I'm just gonna ride it out, see what happens. Get on the horse and ride.
Awesome. That's a very
Nice to meet
broadly diplomatic answer. Thank you so much for that.
And everybody's saying hi to Hisham. Hisham, I'm sorry that you're having technical difficulties today, but you know what? Don't worry about it. We've all been there.
There was private chat of him saying spot on. Emery, your impression's so good. That's fantastic.
He approved.
He approves. That's amazing. Hisham,
Take over for Hisham as well.
it's so funny how this works. All the stuff that Carl didn't want to do somehow gets to go to new Hisham. This is amazing. It's exactly what we wanted.
That's
What I wanted, so I'm happy.
Oh man, hilarious, awesome. Well, okay, guys. Well, I think we did that intro justice. Now we've met everybody that's new. Rachel, we didn't bring you on, but everybody's met Rachel. She's wonderful. I'd love to see her again to come on to talk about her new role with us, because she's also doing some stuff with us now beyond her project.
Yeah, so, I think she's hopping on after our Ironic Challenge chat, I believe, which is why she's sticking around for a little bit. So she's got about 20 minutes, Rachel, just for a heads up. And for the other EIRs that I've already talked so far, if you could either leave the backstage because we're full and somebody is joining, I don't really know, as well, that would be awesome, just because we do have a cap of how many people we can have here. And I think that we're bringing Susahash up as well. And
nice.
That's about it.
Very cool. Very cool. Looks like, I'm excited to see Susahash here for the round table. That's awesome.
As soon as we get his camera up and running, but Emery, we'll pass it over to you for the transition.
Load up your rifle.
Or is it the other way? Yeah, there you go. That looks really weird, by the way. It's a really big Darkhorse. Sorry, I was bad. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. Okay. What are we doing here? We're going to talk about the challenges of being a startup building startups. Isn't that going to be a fun topic, guys? So the coaches here, we've all volunteered to do this. We're not volunteering technically, because I think at some point there's going to be some paperwork around this thing. But right now, we're all kind of here giving a lot of time and energy to, working on this program and helping our fellow aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And there's a lot going on. We're doing a lot. All of us have full-time, careers running companies. Some of us are, even before we started doing this, were mentoring and doing a lot of coaching and stuff with our other projects. And we've all sort of kind of come together here to do this program right now. And it's funny because you end up signing up to things until you hit a capacity, and then you realize after it's too late that you're well beyond capacity, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what happened here? And so yesterday we had a meeting. We have a coaches meeting ideally every week or so, and it was cool. We all showed up, and I was actually pretty frustrated, if I'm being honest. And again, this is a transparent program, so we want to always be honest about everything. I wasn't frustrated with anybody here, by the way. I wasn't even frustrated with the program, but I was frustrated with myself, I think, and with the ability to do all the things that we see. And so I think it's really easy for us to have a vision around where this can go. And we're really excited about all the people that have joined it, all the entrepreneurs that are here. And we're really excited about the projects that are getting worked on. And we're excited to have, everybody succeed over the next 5 months. But it also is a tall order. There's a lot on a daily basis that we've got to do behind the scenes to make this actually all work. And I'm not talking about this because honestly, Paul put absolutely no effort into making this part here. No, just kidding, Paul. No, but I'm honestly talking about the fact that, to actually build companies from scratch, it takes a lot of work. It's going to take the EIRs that are in this program a ton of work. Every week they're going to be putting in. They're doing assignments now. They're sort of creating. We'll talk a bit about some of those assignments shortly. But basically, each person that's here actually has a lot on their plate. And then what we have to do is we have to make sure that we keep this organized enough so that it's actually adding enough value to everybody. And on top of that, we also want to make sure that we're documenting it well enough that if you are watching the program or join it at some point in the future, or an audience member, you're actually getting as much value out of it as well. Because again, it goes right back to why we started this program. We started it so that we could actually provide something new and novel to the ecosystem for entrepreneurs that didn't fit into the mold of some of the other programs. Okay, and also as entrepreneurs ourselves, we've had our own unique experiences, and so we wanted to say, okay, these are the kind of things that we think could be added to the priorities to help you become more successful more quickly, hopefully. And so everybody here that's joined, I've been really fortunate because Zav and I started talking about this idea again about a year ago. It's been a passion sort of concept for me for many years, including him as well. That's what was really funny when we first met to talk about the program. He had been working on something similar. And so we just sort of said, well, why don't we do it together? Paul and I became friends through another friend of ours who's also a coach, Susahash. We had also had some conversations, and so we also discussed this and got really excited about it. And then, of course, I started working with Carla and just had an amazing experience with her running a new startup that we launched here in South Africa called Status Society, which is an influencer marketing agency. And I said, you know what, you got to help us out here with Darkhorse, because this is something else that I think your talents and your experience would really lend to. And so, and we have some other great coaches as well that I didn't mention, but that are sort of have come in and shared some of their experience and advice. And we're frankly building a number of, like a bigger ecosystem of coaches around the program. But it has been very difficult. Sorry, guys, I apologize. It has been very difficult to sort of manage, I think, everybody's expectations, because all of our expectations are really high. Everybody who here is on the call. I think all of us are trying to play the A game. We're trying to like really, be at the top of our game as it comes to, providing resources here. But we have only so much bandwidth. And so it was good. I was glad we had the conversation we did yesterday, because I think every week we're pretty self-critical about, where we're dropping the ball. And behind the scenes, we've been actually making some changes so that things can be much more organized. I think one of the things that, we all have different strengths. And for me, I'll just start and then everybody can have their time to sort of share what they're thinking about this program so far. I'm really excited because I see into the future. Like, that's the thing that I sort of am always thinking about. I'm sort of obsessed with, like, where is this going? And are we kind of, not straight line, because that's never the case, but are we sort of tacking, as my friend Walter would say, who's a yacht master, are we tacking on the sea towards the destination we want to go, right? Are we readjusting the ship and moving in the right direction? I feel like we absolutely are, but it gets frustrating because a lot of the things that I want to sort of see already in place are still being built, are still being figured out, right? And all of us are coming with our own sort of perspective of that, right? I'm seeing certain things that nobody else is seeing because maybe I'm having certain conversations, I'm working on certain parts of the program. Everybody else there is doing that. And the reason why we're sharing this right now is because all these entrepreneurs are coming in and they're going to be starting to work on their own projects. And they're going to run through some very challenging situations with trying to keep their vision intact and moving in the right direction. And we're no different, right? So we want to give you at least a bit of a, honest insight into how hard it is to kind of do this, right? And so again, Darkhorse is a startup. We're trying to facilitate a bunch of other companies through the program. We all have really high expectations for it and for each other. And sometimes, we're not prioritizing the right things for each other. There's things that, I know Paul's very organized, and he's, he really thrives on structure. And I'm like, I have the structure in my head, I don't have it on paper anywhere in some cases. And so for me, it's like, it must be very frustrating for him because I'm like, oh, no, I see where it's going. It's very clear to me, but he doesn't necessarily see all of that. Right. And then, again, talking about Zab and Carla, same thing, we all have, different things that we're kind of been putting a lot of energy and time on, and things that we've been thinking about with as it relates to how we can add value to each other, and then to also all the entrepreneurs that are here. And each of us has a completely different vantage point. Susahash, same thing, very different vantage point. He's one of our technical coaches, and he's been talking to a lot of the entrepreneurs about their technology roadmap and how we can assist them with that. And so for him,
happy to bring in the call whenever you're ready, Emery.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's bring him in. Sorry, I'm just gabbing here. But I just wanted to stall the five of us to have a quick conversation about how we're feeling about the program, how we're feeling about the challenges, and how we can share honestly our journey with the rest of the entrepreneurs, so they understand better what they're dealing with.
Yeah, I'll happily tie in just because you name dropped me a little bit there near the end. I think the biggest thing is that you and I inherently, or Emery specifically, the both of us, we work very differently. I think that our methodology, I know you are you have a creative person, you actually have the information in your head, you have all these things that get processed. I am not a creative person. I'm very literal when it comes to things. And, one of my jobs essentially is so my background generally is in operations infrastructure, sort of sales and business intelligence, right? So all of the really unsexy things about entrepreneurship, about building a company, all of those things that tend to get overlooked, that's kind of what I've always done for a living and what I'm really good at. So when it comes to how things get done or what the process is or how do we make it more efficient, it's really because I'm selfish. I don't want to spend time doing things that I don't want to do. And I've always just been kind of my worst pain in the ass when it comes to that. I really hate doing things I don't like to do. So how do I build a process? How do I build a methodology? How do I do something? Or how do I change the process so that I don't hate doing this? Because if I hate doing it, I'm not going to do it. So I look at how to build those processes, those things that save time, that save energy, that let me put my bandwidth towards things that are much more relevant or much more important, right? So it's tough with any new company because what I want to do and what we're capable of doing are two vastly different things, right? I work for, an accelerator and incubator program full time. I handle day-to-day operations. I, manage partnerships. I work, hands-on with companies that are both launching in the next 2.5 months. So there's just tons of work. So I can't sit here and say, yeah, I'd love to dump 50 hours in a Darkhorse because I love the idea. I love the concept. I love the niche more than anything. Because I mentor at other programs, not just for my own. And I love the whole reason that we're here. It's why I've forcibly made time at this point. But yeah, it's being able to sort of get to a peaceful mindset, I guess, of this is what I want to do, not where we are right now. But I know that in future, Emery's not going to have a choice in future of how we set up the processes and the structure of the program. So I'm look, you've got your vision, great. Just leave all of this really boring shit to me. I'll make sure it's streamlined. It all runs well. All the assignments are percolated out. We're going to automate a bunch of things, but like that's just not where we're at, and that's okay. But the skill of being okay with where something is and not where it's going to be or where it will be in the future or what you want it to be, like I think that's a really core part of entrepreneurship. And like I'm going to toss this to Susahosh for a seamless transition and segue here, but it's like building any software platform, right? The MVP is never. Thank you for the laughter immediately. The MVP for any product is it's never sexy. It never works. It doesn't have all of the features. Even the first launch of it, like, the companies that we're working with, 2 of them right now that are in the fintech space, they have like 2 or 3 year product roadmaps and they're launching in 2 months. Like you have to make concessions. What features do you need to launch with? How do you want to do this? Like, where does the budget, the time, and the allocation have to go in order for it to just get out there and do it? And that same type of mentality has to be kind of applied to literally everything. So I think being okay with not being okay with where things are at is a super important kind of aspect. I mean, what do you think, Susash?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. That good transition. I like the MVP example and just putting me right in there with the software.
You're a technical engineer. Of course, I'm going to use an MVP example.
Yeah, that's why I said good transition. So thanks, Paul. So I 100% agree. Like what Paul is saying, and it's interesting, Emery, when you're telling the story about the early days of this, and I think it's so interesting to kind of actually think back. And I don't know if you remember, but initially it was actually supposed to be a podcast, and the first time it was Emery, myself, and Zavash, the 3 of us, we actually recorded a podcast together, and we were supposed to like make this into a thing, and that was the idea. And it's interesting to see that over the years, even though we didn't quite launch it, we kind of recorded, we started a couple of sessions, and then it kind of slowed down. That idea stayed, and for us to see to put this to fruition, and by all means, like it has been really you and Zavash really working on it and coming back together, and then bringing me in, and it's really amazing to see that idea evolve. So the topic was the irony of doing a startup. So it's interesting because in a way, yes, it's ironic, but at the same time, it's not just like an inexperienced entrepreneur going out and training other entrepreneurs. All of us in our own right have built companies. We have done successful things, and we're bringing all of that together. So yes, like something has to start somewhere, and I think this is the start. And like what Paul was saying, this is our MVP. We're figuring things out, and you guys know that we had these deep conversations in our sometimes heated conversations in our coaches meeting, trying to figure things out. Like, hey, this is working, this is not. But that's the process, right? You have to go through that. It reminds me of an example, actually, like an analogy, actually, Steve Jobs had made, where he was talking about, how do you build the best companies? And he said, you have to put the best people in the same room. And it's like putting together like, a very like rough rocks in a little box and just grinding it for hours and hours, put a little bit of water and just grinding it for hours. And then you come back with this smooth, very like very soft, good surface rocks. And that's what happens when you take talented people, you put them together and we grind things out. We come up with the result, which is the result which we all, I guess, take part in. So that's the exciting part. And I think we have a bunch of talented coaches and huge set of mentors, mentor list that Emery has put together, and Zavash from your network. So which is amazing. And in addition, we have a great team of EIRs. So we're really excited to what we're doing. So yeah. So I don't think it's ironic. It's evolution.
Yeah, it's Kaizen.
Are we gonna have to fight about this? It's ironic, okay? It's ironic.
Someone do hashtag Kaizen.
Oh man, if only Emery had control of the broadcast and he could add captions that said ironic. Oh no. There we go. That's much better. Okay.
Nice.
Let's hear Carla's opinion on this too. and then I'll go last.
Sorry, I'm sending messages on the Slack channel. But I'm listening to you guys. But some of the EIRs have some really cool ideas that they're sharing on there, and I was tempted to not respond immediately. But I definitely agree with everything.
Carl is multitasking? What? No, Carla, multitasking? Really? Come on.
I'm offended that you look so surprised. That's a bit rude.
That's my sarcastic expression, by the way,
okay,
Carla.
It's a good thing you guys haven't been working next to each other in South Africa for months, because otherwise this would be awkward.
But with Darkhorse specifically, and especially after the meeting we had last night, and just discussing some of the things that go on behind the scenes with coaches and some of the challenges we face, I think that just adds extra value for the EIRs, because they're part of building their own businesses, but also part of another startup and working with us through the whole process and the challenges that come with it. And I think that's one thing that makes this really special, because most people will only want to show like the nice things of a startup and the fun of it, but we do that, but also the realities and what really goes on and into it, and the challenges that come with it. So yeah, that's it.
Definitely. I'll quickly add to everyone's those great points. It's just so refreshing to see, because we're all coming from different backgrounds, and there are some overlaps, but we all have our own unique way to express our point of view, which is what makes it special. And I'll use a couple of different maybe metaphors or different comparables for everyone who's listening. To me, I like the example of looking at a live organism. Compare a company to an actual live organism that's growing and living. So you look at it, and you have a brain, you have a heart, and you have a liver, and whatever, different parts and arms and legs, and each one unique to itself, but part of the total machine or the organism. And if you build a startup around that concept, nature's done it for us, guys. Like we just take everything from nature and we try and recycle it in our own way, and build a plane out of observing how birds fly, or a car based on horsepower. So we're not doing anything unique. The human species, as much as we think we're special, we're good at taking things and reiterating it through stories and through products and through different things. But if you model after the real thing, which is nature, like look at the human body and its complexity, but everything has to work with everything at the same time for it to move and for it to grow. And so now the other comparison is, for example, in sports. And I used to play soccer when I was, or football for different parts of the world. And, people play different, positions, right? So I happen to be a good midfield, which, the role of the midfield is you carry the ball from the defense to the forward and back, and you serve when you need to on defensive and sometimes on the offense. Now, with respect to Darkhorse, I'm doing the exact same thing, because I can go to 10,000 feet up with Emery and look at the future in its entirety and spend hours exploring down a path that most people would be confused. They don't know what we're talking about. But then carry that back, go down, take the elevator, go all the way down to floor 1 or second floor or third floor, and make sure it's communicated at the micro level, and all the other parts of the engine are communicating with each other. Otherwise, the engine's not moving. We can be swimming in deep waters, right? And so I think that's another way to look at it. And everyone, they express this whole thing in a very nice, beautiful way. So I feel like how the one thing that's the gel to bring it all together, or with Susash's example, the grinder, is the trust and is the respect and the love that exists between all of us as coaches, first of all, because that respect and love is the basis of us communicating. We don't take each other too seriously, but we respect each other's expertise. And even if we get into heated conversations or whatever, we come back immediately, and it's just the respect is there. And that's something you can't fake. So I think that, I'll stop there. But
oh, that's beautiful, man. Love you guys. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really
I'm mostly fond of you, Emery, so it's all good.
I'm honestly still making my mind up about you guys, but
I honestly take 6 months. Like, wait till we're done, do a full cycle of the program, and be like, you know what, I'm still
retrospective.
not sure.
Yeah, retrospective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have an exit interview with Carla and each of the coaches. Awesome. Well, guys, yeah, I mean, I think we've said enough about this, but this is cool, man. Like, honestly, you know, it's funny because it was actually really motivating. So we had, you know, we met yesterday, as we talked about, and I really love all the analogies we're using here, like about organism, you know, the rock analogy that Susaha shared. I look at it as like an arena, or even like, you know, when anything, healthy friction is really important. You have to have, you know, that's how you build muscle. You know, that's how you get skills, right? And absolutely, like, I mean, it's because we're passionate. You know, we're all passionate about making this right and making sure that we respect the time and attention that all the program participants are giving us, right? And we also respect each other and know how much value we can bring to an opportunity or an organization. So that's sort of like that. It's a healthy friction, a lot of passion, a lot of opinion. You know, we're all opinionated. We all have, you know, we're all entrepreneurs. We're very opinionated. And so it's like, I think that comes out a lot of times each week. And I think yesterday was great though, because, you know, we had our meeting, we talked about, hey, we need a little bit more structure here. And I just got to work on it. And so one of the things that it was actually very helpful, because we had some new folks that joined us today, and I was ready. You know, we have everything sort of mapped out, you know, on a spreadsheet, which, you know, all the coaches have access to. We're actually in the process of building out a much better basically a data room, like a back office, essentially online back office for our startup. It also gives us a model that all the other entrepreneurs can follow, you know, as it relates to, you know, using Google as a file sort of storage system. So there's lots of great stuff. I mean, I have a list, like I think we had about 25 or 30 things we covered today with the new crew EIRs, or the facilitators. And, you know, some of those things are, we've talked about in the past, but now they're actionables. Now they're on like a list, and they've got to be addressed, you know? And I think that's the key thing, is that, you know, it's like getting it out of the head and getting it on paper and having it tracked and accountable. And so it was actually a really helpful conversation we had yesterday, because I felt like, you know what, all this stuff is happening, but it's really messy, and now it's going to be a lot more organized. You know, and obviously it's a process, as we said, it's Kaizen, it's a process, but I do feel like we took a step, an additional step in the right direction over the last couple of days. So I'm really proud of this.
Amazing.
I mean, one of my favorite expressions, and like I use this with Susahash consistently, and like it's very simple, but it's strictly for time management. I say, like, that's a tomorrow problem. It means that, like, whatever we're discussing, we don't need to dig into it. We don't need to go and do an analysis. We don't need to do anything else. Like, that's a tomorrow problem, which is leave it alone, take it off the table. We've got other things that to prioritize as it is now. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. These systems don't have to be, you know, massively integrated. They don't need thousands of moving parts. It's like, we have, you know, at our program, we have our whole thing of just like, we'll deal with it tomorrow. We'll deal with it next week, whatever. But a tomorrow problem just means it's not today. We have other things that are more important on our plates. And that's it. Because as long as you keep knocking stuff off the list generally gets shorter, and then it gets longer, but everything changes, right? And that's the big thing with, you know, sort of that Kaizen methodology that we're talking about, is consistently improving things and consistently questioning things. But as long as you balance that with prioritizing your own time, generally it doesn't end up being shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generally.
I mean, that's great. Do you guys think we should share with the ERRs at this point, or keep it a surprise, some of the things that we're tackling? Like, do you want me to run through, like, I'll do like the whirlwind under a minute. I can run through all the things that we're working on for them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, get it out.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, I'll share my screen. That way you can visualize it.
I have a job to do now. This is excellent. All right.
Awesome. Okay, so here's the things. So we broke things into different sections. These are all the things that we're currently working on, guys. So we've got basically our Darkhorse media plan. We've got social media design and management, and excuse the management. I don't know what that means there, but you guys get the idea there. And so management spell. So anyway, pretend I don't know what I'm doing there. So then we have basically, actually coming up with the plan, and then actually executing on it. We're also doing journals. So all the EIRs and all the coaches are going to be doing journals with Q&A and stuff on a weekly basis. So now organizing influencers and champion ambassadorships and personal brand advisors in place. We're setting up a Facebook group for a broader audience to be able to join the Facebook group, because our Slack group is going to remain private. We're using live streaming community management to help improve and facilitate that on social and WhatsApp, and probably Slack at some level too. We're doing interviews and onboarding and stuff. We're going to be uploading that stuff to YouTube, continuing to upload new content to YouTube. We're also going to be doing a intro short highlights. It's to 10-minute highlights of past videos. So we have footage for content to share with people to get them familiarize the program and what we're doing, stuff that we can put out on social media, of course. And then we're also working on a crowdfunding blueprint. So anybody who needs to do crowdfunding, instead of raising money from, again, we're raising money from our customers first. So we're doing a crowdfunding blueprint. We're exploring NFTs, non-fundable or fungible tokens, and we're exploring blockchain for the program. That's a whole thing that would take a while to explain, but this is something that we're doing on the technical side. We're also setting up a lead list scraper, a list database, which we started, so that we can actually find new folks that we want to engage with more easily and get their contact information. We're having a roadmap, a technology roadmap every EIR is going to have. So every EIR is going to have their own technology roadmap that one of our coaches, I'm wondering which one of our coaches is going to help facilitate. Susahash, I'm wondering which one, but I think we know now. And then we have a agile project management setup project that we're going to be working on with each of the EIRs. Is going to get set up in ClickUp so that every week they can move through the program with agile project management, speed and agility, and also Susash is going to share a presentation that he's prepared for how to do things in agile, which is excellent for any of you who have not seen it yet. We're also going to be doing goals, objectives, and tracking KPIs for Darkhorse itself, so we can keep ourselves accountable. We also have we're constantly improving the restreaming, the actual technology that we use for the live stream here, trying to improve it, trying to deep dive it, make sure it's better, improve the branding, improve the transitions. I think we're off to a good start, but there can always be improvements there. So we're going to be using that as a way to do that on the administrative side. We're going to be setting up one-pagers for EIRs so that they can actually go to their /onepager.vc to have anybody who wants to, get more information about their specific project. They can actually learn all about it there, anything that's not also available on the website. We're also going to be having more submission and traction compliance policies in place so that keep everybody and also moving through as efficiently as possible through the program. We're also going to be working on getting more brand and financial partners and sponsors. We're getting a grant research and writing initiative going for anybody who wants to try to get all that free money that Mr. and Mrs. Canada are giving us, or Mr. and Mrs. South Africa or Belgium or wherever. We're going to be doing some grant research. I just mentioned that. We're going to be doing growth hacking for the Accelerator. We have some plans in place for that so that we can get more, more audience members to participate. We're going to be doing office hours, so you can actually schedule more efficiently your office hours with the coaches and with guest coaches. We're also going to be doing a data EIR data room. So each EIR is going to have a convention, like a formula to be able to organize all of their project assets in one place and have it nice and easy for them to share with mentors or coaches or anything, or each other. And we're going to be setting up and managing things through ClickUp. So we have an initiative for that, managing things through Slack, an initiative for that. We're going to be having a chief of staff helping us, which is one of the new EIRs, helping us with meeting minutes, legal agreements, policy docs, executive work, and all that fun stuff. We're setting up our own data room. It goes on and on, guys. We're almost done.
Actually. Yeah, I think we won't have enough time to cover all of it.
Yeah. So I'll wrap it up. So basically, these are examples like what you're going to be dealing with as a startup. And I think this is important. Like, I know it seems exhausting, but this is the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, so that when we show up here once, twice a week, we can be, as an ER. So I did this on purpose to kind of show like a lot going into the back office stuff. And thankfully now we have not just the coaches, but we actually have some great EIRs that we've worked with to make this happen. So thank you. I know that was boring, but I just wanted to give you that's the unglamorous stuff behind the scenes.
Well, and it's one of those things is when we're kind of looking and we talk consistently about we're improving, we're working on it, we're a startup. Like, it's not because we have, streaming software and all of our interconnections work, or that, our transitions are a little bit clunky, or, we don't have our agendas up and running. Like, the pure amount of shit that runs behind the scenes in order for things to happen. And even when I started working with Susahosh, which was, I don't know, some time ago, I was like, look, if I'm going to come in and do the programming and we're going to build this program out around what you have already, I think I took 2 months and I was like, just leave me the fuck alone and let me go and build it. And I came back. I have a terrifying flow chart of things that a company needs that I'll use at some point, but it's massive. It's huge. It's got a ton of stuff in it, but this is stuff that you actually need. In the same way that we're not going to sit and build administrative frameworks out when we're like, oh, well, we're kind of doing this together. I mean, even the curriculum wasn't really sorted entirely until, a couple of months ago, I think. We've been talking about this for a long time. So it's just a process, and we prioritize, right? What's a tomorrow problem and what's a today problem? And Emery's done a really good job of kind of putting that together.
Yeah, just to add to that, what Paul was saying, that when, Paul brought that to me, and then we didn't finalize that. It was iterations, and there's a lot of stuff we have to remove, some things we have to add. So it's the same process, right? We're going through the same process here. We're figuring that out. So that's absolutely something we have to do. And sometimes until you do something and you realize it's not working, it just it just doesn't work. And also there's a question of identity, that who we are as a company, because what we are as a Meta-Eye versus what we are as say Darkhorse, different identity. There's a different identity that identifies, and building that value, and even that doesn't happen overnight. Just like as human beings, you're born and you suddenly don't know who you are. It takes you years and years, sometimes almost a lifetime, to find out who you are, what you're about. So it's the same thing with the program, with the course. And it evolves. Even big companies, what they were at the beginning, what they end up being in 10, 20 years, when they're multi-billion companies, the identity changes, right? So it's an evolving thing, but that's something it's very important to define. Working on it as a team.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I do have faith in all of us is that when we actually enjoy something, we never let it go and we constantly make it better.
Yep.
The other thing is important, I think. Something gets lost sometimes in the big perspective versus the small, is all those different areas, or I guess KPIs, or all the different requirements on our end that we're managing. It will naturally have to be prioritized. So once we know, okay, we're going to tackle this and this first. We're not doing it all at once. Nobody can do that, but then we can learn and see and reprioritize, as Susahosh put it, and reiterate the plan, figure out the identity, and then as long as it's on the same path, as long as it's supposed to take us to where we need to go, where Emery can explain on in terms of driving the ship, then we know, okay, so all this stuff is moving us to get to our main milestone.
Yeah. Yep. And every entrepreneur has to do that, right? All the ERs here, they're going to have their own roadmap, right? And it's sometimes it's overwhelming. It's a healthy exercise to put everything out that you think is near term, requirements. But then, as Vash said, to now start to put it into a priority list, right? And actually start to map it onto a calendar, give yourself some timelines, and that's where Susahosh, when he starts going through agile project management, that's where it's going to be very, very useful for you to understand how to prioritize things, and then also how to now execute on those things that you're prioritizing. So, you know, we're no different. We're going through it. We have a ton of stuff that we want to accomplish. Everything that's on that list is in my head, meaning like not just in my head, but in our head as like, these are things that have to be in the world, that have to be created. But guess what? Like our job now is the hard work, the unglamorous work, the behind the scenes work of actually manifesting all of this stuff into the real world, right? And so that's what every entrepreneur has to do. I mean, it's again, that's all the unglamorous stuff. When I say unglamorous, I mean, we love it. We thrive on it, but it's not the stuff it's not the highlight reel. It's not the stuff that you go up on stage and talk about so much. It's more like, you know, it's the results of doing all of those little things or sometimes big things that get you on stage or wherever, you know, you imagine yourself on TED Talks or wherever. Yeah.
I usually like the concept of like the analogy of supercar, because you have like a comparison between a supercar and like a, you know, mass manufactured car. The handcrafting, the amount of effort that goes into designing the engine, making sure it functions, right? And it's just what makes a difference. $1 million versus like another car for like $20,000. It look the same, but all the work that's gone into that one, once you hit the gas, it flies, right? It's just a different ballgame.
Yeah, so I mean, you also missed the part where I'm sitting and cursing at Microsoft Word because spell check is stupid at 3 o'clock in the morning because I can't put stuff together. And I'm taking it out on technology. But yeah, no, the car is always a great analogy. Like for anything in a company, like between marketing, sales, the manufacturing, the designing, the building, like there's a lot of similarities, and there's a great path on that. So thanks, Zav. I'm going to steal that. So.
No worries.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Nicest guy, Zav. It's awesome.
I'm labeled.
Hey, man, it's all about the personal branding.
So, guys, I don't know if we have time to get through this whole thing, but we have a bit of a scoring sort of scenario here where we have the idea is that we're going to invite in a few of the entrepreneurs. I think we'll continue this probably next meeting, but we have entrepreneurs that have been doing a bunch of assignments with us, essentially. And we wanted to, first of all, we wanted to introduce one of the entrepreneurs that hasn't had an opportunity to, I think it was Thandi, who hasn't had an opportunity to actually present yet, like what she's been working on and what she's doing. And then we wanted to actually get a few of the other entrepreneurs in. We could basically sort of just take a look at what they're up to, what their progress has been, maybe spot check a few things, and then start to score people for their progress. I think we have time to do a bit of that. We're not going to obviously get through it all, but it's a good starting point to kind of keep the entrepreneurs sort of accountable.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, if you want, I know there's limited space in the backstage. I'm okay to volunteer to leave and let some more people come in if you want.
Absolutely not. You're stuck here. I'm always the one that gets to go out first if need be, so I can actually run the things ahead of time. And I'll just keep you here if I have to. Damn it.
Nice. Okay, so Thula is ready. So why don't we bring her? Like, why don't we do? Why don't you show us?
I'm gonna hop out. I'll bring it over and throw it large screen there. I just want to make sure that when any of the ERs come up, if you can throw your camera on, just so I know that you're there, because all that shows up for me is like a little screen. It's like the Google screen, right, with just like the letter associated with it. Because I don't want to bring someone up and be like, "Yep, they happened to go to the bathroom. They ordered some food, whatever it was." Just like makes it a bit easier. So I will bring them over now.
Awesome. Hey, how are you, Thula?
Hello.
Hi, Emery. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Hey, Thula.
Very good. Very good.
Hi, Zeb.
Nice to see you. It's been a long time coming. You're the I think the last of the existing. We have actually one new ER that just joined as well, or two new ERs that just joined that are going to be doing some projects. But outside of that, I think out of the original batch, you have yet to share a bit of your, learning, your insights, your progress with us. So we'd love to hear what you've been up to. And obviously,
I'm happy to
a little bit about yourself.
Finally, I'm live.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that, Emery. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Thula Khanyo. I'm a recent accounting graduate. I'm currently based in South Africa. So I did accounting, like I mentioned, but I've had, a very pressing, thing that I really wanted to explore entrepreneurship. So I've tapped into a few programs trying to get myself familiar with the concept, because I don't really have enough people close enough to me that can tell me what it's like or what you need to do. So I listened to a few podcasts, read a few books, but I just felt like it was not enough. And I've actually been part of an incubator program before. And I remember I stated in my interview with you, Emery, that I felt like I left it with pitching skills, and
Yes.
I was pitching an idea, and I was not worried about funding the idea at the point. And I genuinely believed that the idea could generate money for itself. Like, I genuinely believed it. And when I left, I was not so satisfied. So when I found this program, it was perfect timing. And that's why I'm happy to be here. And I'm really excited to be part of Darkhorse, because I believe that I'm going to be learning the necessary things about actually building a business that can hopefully, thrive. And hopefully, I'll, like you, Emery, I'll choose which summer I want to be at. Like, I'll escape the winter. I'll get to a point where I can escape winter and just go to another country because I can, it's an option. But also just to be able to solve problems and all of that. So I've actually deregistered my accounting honors. So I did the undergraduate, but I chose not to continue because I genuinely couldn't ignore the itch of entrepreneurship. So I'm very fully in on this program, even though it's a part-time program, but I want to give it my all. And it was the perfect timing for me, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you, Thula. That's wonderful. And congratulations. I think, some people might not give you congratulations and go, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Get back to school. But I'm going to congratulate you because I think it's really brave to, really listen to yourself and your gut and do what you feel is necessary. I mean, I'm not proud of being a college dropout, but I did make that choice. I had two friends ahead of me by a year, and I was struggling in school at that point anyway. And I had to go through one more year of a course that I was not fully bought into, and I got an opportunity to work with them, and I left, And so I think you have to listen to your gut. Yeah. So I'm glad that you did.
Thank you so much. And there were so many voices that were speaking against it. I mean, I had to convince my family, and I had to convince my bursary, and I also had to convince the firm that I was supposed to do my accounting articles with. So it was a lot, but I just couldn't ignore it anymore. I just couldn't.
Well, I've got some good news for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I've got good news for you. You don't have to treat this as a part-time program because entrepreneurship is pretty much a full-time job. So we can definitely get you enough, sort of support that, if you're doing this full-time, which I encourage any EIR that's here on the program, you can do it part-time, that is an option, but you can also do it full-time. And you're just going to get, the more time you spend on your project, the more, traction you're going to get, the more learning you're going to have. So welcome aboard, and yeah, let's go all in, Thula, and get you some results here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what are you working on? Has that been discussed yet?
Yes.
What project? What concept?
Yes. So I will be working on the plant-based CBD candy.
Nice. Awesome.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's so exciting, like the research that I've been doing, like I'm finding it so exciting. And I don't know, like, because it's so controversial and there's so much like confusion and all of that, like it's so exciting for me to actually be able to work on a project within that space. And it's also, when COVID started, like everyone was trying a whole lot of remedies to
Can you share
stay safe.
One line before,
and my mom was one of those people.
Can you share in one line what that is, and for people that don't understand who are listening, and then please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you want me to explain CBD. So basically, I'm referring to a chemical compound of the cannabis plant. So, and one of the cannabis plants, though the popular one is weed, or rather marijuana, but then this is a different type of the same family but a different type, and the chemical compound that we're interested in is the CBD, which doesn't get you high, but rather has more therapeutic capabilities, like making you relaxed and all of that. So yeah, that's what.
And what's the
I'll be
product
looking to,
you're
educate people on and bring out an awesome product. So the product is it's candy, or in South Africa, sweets.
Thank you.
Gummies. Yeah.
Nice. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Thula, and it's talking about sports. It's Bill Simmons' podcast, and he does a lot of stuff on the NBA and other sports and so on. And his daughter is a junior soccer player, or whatever. She's in school and so on. And she uses a CBD spray for injuries now, and it's like one of those things where you just spray it on, like if you're got a swollen knee or whatever, you got hit in the leg or arm or whatever, you can basically just spray it on and it instant relief, right? And so he was just amazed at like where the technology is going, and this stuff has been around. We've had people using this for
it's such
years.
a interesting.
I think I've worked on a couple of projects that were CBD related, and the one of the industry-wide challenges is the legal aspect of it, especially in a place like Canada. It's so many red tapes that prevent companies to reach the full potential of these products yet, especially because the government also took over and legalized marijuana. For those that don't know or are not from Canada, Canada recently did that a couple years back, I believe. And now the government is invested in the business of cannabis, which means they control the distribution of it. There's, it's good for some reasons because the quality of the plant and who's distributing it is, monitored and tested. But then now there's so much of the actual product sitting in the market and not enough people that can purchase at that quantity. And then CBD and other, cannabinoids, those things are still not regulated yet. So a bit of a challenge. But.
So what is your target market, Thula? Is it Canada?
So
is it
I'm not
South
very
Africa?
clear on my target market, but I definitely. Oh, okay. South Africa.
Okay.
Okay, and is it legal there?
If you were referring to country-wise.
Yeah.
So there is so it needs to be below 20 milligrams. So those are the products that are currently allowed without a lot of the red tape, and there's been a lot of, retailers that are coming in that are basically taking different brands and being the ones to distribute it in South Africa because certain products are allowed on the market. It's just the issue right now in South Africa is the cultivation of the plant, but different, the importation of CBD edibles and stuff, I don't think there's a lot of red tape around that. And there's also, what is this? The 20 milligram that is allowed, to be infused into whatever product that you're going to have.
So is the idea behind this project then to import products that are already made and then resell, like a distribution model, or is it like manufacturing? What is the concept? Because that wasn't very clear.
Okay, so my intention is to import the CBD, the oil or the seeds. So that is allowed. Import the oil and the seeds, but actually get the sweets made in South Africa, the manufacturing in South Africa. So on the top of my priority list is actually to get advice on the legal framework on how is that really possible. So because I know with the seeds and the oil, like you're not allowed to trade it in South, like it's so the legislation in South Africa is coherent enough. So, but I'm pretty sure that you can actually import the CBD and then get it made in South Africa. So a few of the CBD vendors are actually doing that, and most of them are based in Cape Town in South Africa.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of brands here. Yeah, a lot of CBD
is that
brands.
something? is that something, that's like, what do you think in terms of timeline? Because you're thinking manufacturing, you're thinking distribution, packaging. So have you thought about that? How much time it might take you to actually, bring it to life, so to speak?
Well, she's got 3 months.
That's why I'm wondering.
So it's a force function. She's got 3 months, right? So that's the answer.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I'm helping her out a little bit, but we're gonna figure out something that you can get in market in 3 months. I've done it, so
that's similar to that. I have a similar kind of maybe follow up to that. Are you thinking the sweets or candies for a particular reason? Did you do any market research, or is it something in particular? Like these are maybe specific sweets native to South Africa that people know and like, or is it just any general candy? Like a lot of those kind of things.
Oh no, it was the project was assigned to me, so I didn't really, get into what type of edible would be the most preferable.
So that would be good to think about at later stage, and compare things like that. Okay, that's good.
That's a great segue. So Thula, what I can do is to help you out a little bit is you. One of the challenges you have is that you haven't been given laser focused direction. You've just been given sort of a broad tapestry to kind of play in. And the idea was to create some type of edible CBD product that's therapeutic and tastes delicious, and that's pretty much it, right? And so, what does that look like? Is it a brownie? Is it like a cookie? Is it like gummies? You mentioned gummies, which is kind of interesting, cool. You can go any direction you want. But the big thing that I think that Zavash and even Susahash,
I vote for brownies, but
yes.
I vote for cheesecake. If we're getting our orders in, I want cheesecake. So
cheesecake,
whatever you can.
My word.
Yeah. But being serious, though, like honestly, what you want to do now is the research, right? Because we've done a bit of research, which I shared with you, like just very high level. This is a growing space, is an exploding space in around the world, actually, not just in Cape Town, but again, within all of these crazy regulations that we've got to deal with and landmines everywhere. So one of your jobs, which you're doing a fantastic job, it sounds like, is figuring out what's the way to get this launched in South Africa. And then the second thing you need to do is, what exactly do I want to launch? Like, what is the first product? What's the MVP? What's the beta? Do some research, like what are people looking for? What's the gaps in the market? So what's already being sold in South Africa? What's doing really well? What's not? There's a bunch of research that you're going to have to do. And the first step is lots of research, right? I've done a bit of research which I share with you. I've been here in Cape Town, and I see how much of a growing market this is here. So you're definitely, there's a healthy appetite for it, but it's just a matter of like, what is missing? Like, because you don't want to come in and be like, just another brownie. You want the Susahash special, right? You want like a really awesome brownie.
I like that. I'll order the first one.
That's definitely something I have to look at in terms of what specific edible would be, the best, especially with the time frame that we're working with and what's already in the market.
Yeah, just be obsessed with like shipping quick, but quality. Like you have, and again, working with partners. You don't have to do everything yourself, right?
If you need help if you need help for quality control when it comes to the taste and the experience, Susahash is ready.
Okay.
I think he's a bit far, so I'll help you out in South Africa. I'm closer.
Thank you, Carla.
But Carla is not the closest. I'm here in Cape Town, so I put my hand up.
You have a lot of
no, Emery, actually, wait, where are you, Carla? I'm actually closer to Carla.
Oh,
I'm home now.
Okay, fine.
Better luck next time, man.
I think it was a mistake inviting you into this program, Thula. I thought you were in Cape Town when I assigned you that project.
I was. When we spoke, I was.
Let's take let's reorganize this a little bit for you.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Thula. It's been a pleasure to finally get you on here, get you on the hot seat finally. And you conducted yourself very well. I give you a very high score for today's presentation, considering how quickly, how much you you've sort of done so far, and I know that you're just getting started. You just got some, and now you actually we're going to send you some more information on the project because you've successfully done a bit of your own independent research, so we can give you some more insights.
Great work.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Well, guys, I think maybe, I know we promised to get Rachel, and why don't we just finish with Rachel? We can chat with her really briefly about her new role with us, some of the things that she's suggesting for us that maybe we can get some advice, some feedback from that. And I think that's all we have time for. And then what we'll do is in our next meeting, we can kind of get everybody to come in and do a bit of a presentation, or not presentation, sorry, a bit of a hot seat with us where we go through their assignments with them. And it also gives everybody, because I'm not sure if all the coaches have had time to go in detail for everybody's assignments, because there's quite a few of them. So I think by next Tuesday, we'll all have had time to kind of go. So when we do this with them, we actually have, certain things that we want to, highlight with them. So why don't we save that for Tuesday, and maybe we'll just do Rachel to finish off the meeting, and we're good.
Awesome.
Cool.
I'm going to hop out, and I'm going to pass it on to Paul. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Awesome to see you. Awesome to see you. See you next time. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time. See you.
Yeah, the coaches panel feels so much angrier without Zav here now. All right, let me bring Rachel up.
Way more angry. Way more angry.
Absolutely, yeah.
Get the nice guy out of here, right?
Oh, well, that's it. Like, we're all smiling, but like underneath, hatred, just like unadulterated, just negative emotion. Hi, Rachel.
Well, what nice a nice segue for Rachel to come in.
Yeah, it's like, red carpet rollout right there, Rachel. That was like beautiful, Paul. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel.
How are you, Rachel? Nice to see you again.
I'm good. Yeah, it's great to see you all as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So we met earlier with some of the new EIRs, and you and I had a couple of conversations prior to that as well about your ability to kind of come in and help us a bit with cleaning up this mess that Paul made for us.
Oh, Paul.
I'm just
okay.
teasing.
No, what? I'll take it from Emery, but Susahosh, how dare you?
I'm just here. I'm just nodding. That's all.
But in all somewhat seriousness, maybe you can share a little bit about some of your suggestions for us and some of the things that you're thinking about that you are going to be coming in to help us with as one of the new crew members, as well as obviously continuing on your journey with local provisions, which is super exciting. It sounds like you got some technology plans underway, and that's always good. In fact, it's inspiring because one of the things that we're going to be sort of pushing every entrepreneur to do is come up with their own personal technology roadmap. So every company, as Mark Andreessen would say, is a technology company if it wants to survive beyond the next decade or so. So we have to think about that, regardless of whether we're building a physical product or whether we're doing something that's more traditional. We have to think about how we can leverage technology to be competitive. And so you have that foresight. You're coming in to really level yourself up with that project. But beyond that, what motivated you to come in and help Darkhorse with the program itself, and what things are you thinking about helping us with?
Yeah, so I just like working with entrepreneurs and on any entrepreneurial ideas. So I just couldn't resist. And it's actually really great, selfishly, getting to see, getting more visibility into the behind the scenes and the bigger picture of where you're trying to go was super interesting and honestly very helpful for me too. So it's really a win-win from that perspective. Yeah, just some ideas that I had. I've been in EIR, I think since April. I can't even remember when I started at this point.
I think it was April, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of just having experienced it for the last few months, I guess I just had some feedback to share, and I hope it was constructive criticism. I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I was a little bit nervous to kind of bring it up, but I was what, I feel like it could really benefit people with the Slack to make it a little bit more clear. I've tried to run communities in the past. I actually had like a personal growth like book club at one point. It was so hard to get people to engage. As like a moderator, you pretty much have to be in there every day, like almost like training people to get in the habit of sharing and like what to share. So I have a bit of, I guess, experience with that. And through my time trying to run that, it ended up being a failure. But I studied up a lot on it, and I did workshops about it. And some really good advice that I heard about Slack in particular is to have very clear channels and not really having more than 5. So you don't want it to be overwhelming, and you don't want to have the channels be too general either. Like, for example, in our group, and I think they're just channels that are preset, but there's like general, random, stuff like that, right? But it's like, I don't really know what to post in like a channel that's called random, right? So it's like, I don't know if that's like as helpful, right? Whereas if it was called like accountability or like the motivation channel, that is so clear what goes there and what to expect there. So that's like a perfect one, right? And we have that one too. But it's like, how can we kind of tailor and tweak those channels so it's more clear and like really beneficial information that's going to get posted in there.
Right. Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, thanks for all that advice. And no advice. Like, I'm really glad that you actually weren't too afraid to sort of say something or felt like, too much that you were going to step on feet, because honestly, we like feet getting stepped on here at Darkhorse. I mean, we're Darkhorse, right? Like, you're going to step on feet. Let's do that. So thank you for doing that, and really appreciate the feedback and I agree. First of all, as soon as you pointed it out, it was like, yeah, that's super obvious. Why didn't we jump on that? Because one of the things that we've talked about multiple times as coaches is, how do we get people more engaged? Like, I don't know. Like, what do we do? Like, we're trying to instigate more conversations. We want to make sure people are getting value out of it. We know that there's conversations happening behind the scenes because I get DM'd a lot. So I know that there's people that actually do have questions that are engaged, interested, but I don't see a lot happening in the general channels. And it's exactly what you're saying, is like, people don't know what to put in there. Like, what do I put in random? Like I don't get it. Like, it's like, it's too broad. It's like anything. And it's actually a great case study for entrepreneurship in general. It's like, as soon as you can narrow the focus and get things very clear and focused and narrow, it's super clear for your customer. And so our customers are entrepreneurs, essentially as the accelerator. And so if we're not clear for you, and if we don't have very clear, when I say you, the general you, meaning like all the entrepreneurs, we basically are failing you because we don't have information that is guiding you to be able to take advantage or benefit from it, right? And so that's something that has been really awesome to have you kind of step in and help us out with some of these things. And I know that's not all you're doing. You're going to be helping us with some outreach as well. And I'm really excited about that. But thank you so much. And yeah, it's been really fun to watch you, sort of participate and interact with us in the program. And you're bringing such a ton of value. So thank you again for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm sure Zab will be very excited about it, because he has been the one. Is like, how do you get people to engage? And we had so many conversations. So thank you. You're doing all of us, especially Zab. You're making Zab really happy.
Yeah, Zab is gonna start yelling at people pretty soon. So he's like, you know what? Thank God Rachel showed up, because I was just about to start yelling.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Rachel, outside of the Slack, did you have any other sort of feedback top of mind? I'm sure that the more that you sort of get into it, the more that you dig through the back end, because it's not nearly as pretty as Zab is. But as we get through it, like, did you have any other feedback right now that just in your experience so far?
Yeah, I think the other kind of feedback I had was maybe creating some kind of accountability group, because I think it's great to have these live sessions and the kind of coaching session that we have on the Tuesday. But I think it would be good to actually get to know the other EIRs better and have more conversations like amongst ourselves too. I think, we could really brainstorm ideas with each other. Like, I know in the last live, I think it was Hamani's idea where you guys were talking about TikTok and like her vitamin dealer stuff. It was basically just like brainstorming like in real time, and you guys came up with all these like cool ideas on the spot. And I just feel like when you get a bunch of heads together, these ideas just naturally come about, right? So it's like, how can you, I guess, kind of make that happen virtually? Like, I know it's difficult because we're not meeting in person, we're not connecting in the same way, and it's hard. Like, I can only see you guys, I can't see the other EIRs, even though I know that they're watching this. So just like having a way that we can actually interact more too would be, I think, really helpful.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I have a plan for that.
Awesome. All ears, Paul. What's the plan?
Oh, great. No, so the general idea is when you take a group of entrepreneurs specifically, the easiest way to do it is to break it into working groups with similar platforms, similar target niches, when there's a little bit of overlap, right? So when you're the different products going into like the same segment, or you're trying to target millennials in a specific country, if you have working groups where it's like you have your own dedicated little Slack channel of like you're all building marketing bullseyes that are all very similar in such a way, or you're all building sales plans that sort of affect the same, so you have like the same base data set. If you send our 20 hours into 4 groups or 5 groups overall, it gives you a network of people that are all sort of experiencing the same thing with information that's relatable, right? So if you have those people that you can rely on, my recommendation always, like I don't want to sit and mandate that you sit on Zoom for 2 hours every week. Like that just feels really shitty. But I think that
not to cut you, Paul, but we're out of time. So sorry, not to just kidding. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, of all people, this is what we're going to start doing now.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Don't worry. Mental note, Emery. It's fine. I have no problem. There's no way for me to get back at you for it, so it's okay. But yeah, I think that working groups make a really big difference.
Myself.
I think that working groups make a big difference because asking people to go and do it ahead of time, or asking people to sort of do it on their own volition, is really difficult, right? Like it's like trying to make friends in your 30s, like I am. Like it sucks. But if we sort of throw everyone into groups and just say, look, like create Slack channels, talk to Rachel, she'll set you all up. But like if you have those like light frameworks there that have those similarities, it helps. It at least starts the cohesion in one way or another. Like if you can find an hour, just kind of go through the stuff that you've dealt with over the week, some of the struggles that you're having with assignments, but then you also are creating a support network. And that's one of the things that doesn't get talked about a lot in terms of entrepreneurship, is creating a support network. And I've complained a couple of times on live streams about, EIRs and people not reaching out to me to actually just have conversations. Like, even if you're having a shit day, like reach out. And the 2 people that I told to absolutely did reach out. Shout out to Sensia and Extension, by the way, because they were both awesome. I feel like we made a bunch of progress with it. And like, we just need to facilitate, I think, as a program, a little bit better in terms of that cohesion, so that you have the resources, you have the access, and you sort of, you're not forced to do anything, but those support networks at least are there because it's similar people dealing with similar things, going through the same process, right? And I think that would make a really big difference for us to kind of just group people together some way that we think it makes sense. And if it doesn't, like, cool, we'll do it again, kind of thing. Like, I'm not great at it. I'm going to defer to Emery and his knowledge of the spaces and the companies and everything on that side. But I think that the support network is a big thing. I agree. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's great, Paul. And honestly, the other thing is hopefully the co-pilot pilot arrangement will also help, because now there's like, one-on-one interactions. Plus there's also what we're talking about here, which is the group interactions. So I think we can definitely level this up quite a bit by next week.
Well, and it's layers, right? Like it's like when you're trying to do something, but you only do like that one specific thing, right? So just like when you're starting a company, you can't just do marketing unless you're Red Bull, which is essentially a marketing company. But like when we're doing e-commerce stores, like it's not just production, it's not just product, it's not just one thing. It's a whole variety of things, and it gets deeper and the permutations get bigger as you go along. It should be the same thing, and that should be built the same way for your support network. My partner is absolutely wonderful. She's incredible. She supports me through everything, but like she's got her own shit. I can't rely on her 100% of the time to support me through everything, through all of the work, through everything else, because that's a lot to ask of any one person, right? Yeah. And it's the same thing with my group of friends that aren't in the life of being an entrepreneur. Like that's a lot for them to ask, to understand, to the point where I need to vent about these 4 very obscure, odd, niche things that I've dealt with, and like it's been torturing me mentally, but like they also can't relate to that. So when we're looking at, building that support network and having those people that you have access to have those conversations, for EIRs not to feel stuck, I hope that EIRs feel comfortable reaching out to any coaches. Like I've said explicitly, I will give anyone my cell phone number in the program. Message me on Slack, whatever. I feel like I'm easy to talk to, except to Emery, because he's a dick. And I think that, if we create these support networks for all of our EIRs as we go along here, I think that's going to make a big difference. But like, we honestly reach out to other people in the program, talk about what you're going through, be okay to admit when you don't know what you're doing. Thanks, Emery. Especially when you don't know what you're doing, because a lot of this is going to be new, and a lot of people haven't done this before. And a lot of the conversations that I've had with people has always been not the actual product; it has to do with context. So when you're looking at the marketing bullseye specifically, understanding what it is great. Like, it's very straightforward, it's very simple, it should be pretty easy. But the why was always that thing. Like, when I was in high school, it was the science program of like, oh, you throw a coin off of a moving train going down a slope at this speed. Like, why would you ever use this? This is ridiculous. But it's the same kind of thing that as soon as you have context of, principle and application, everything makes significantly more sense. So I think that building out communities or smaller communities and groups, working groups for EIRs is great. I don't want to force. You don't have to ask in person. I see every message and I respond to very few. I'm terrible for it. But for anything that's actually serious, or for someone asking for help, I always try to make sure that I have time for it. And I think that asking questions, building those support structures, I think is something solid for us to move forward with.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was a lot of words, Rachel. Yeah. I got on a tear for a bit there.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for hogging all of Rachel's time. Yeah,
I pulled an Emery. What do you want from me?
Pulled an Emery. That's a good one.
Yeah. By the way, first piece of merch.
In closing, Paul, let's ask Susahash what the answer to that riddle that you just gave us is. You have like a guy running down a hill, being chased by what is it, like a locomotive?
Yeah. Yeah, you need the weight of the coin, the force of gravity, the speed, the air resistance. Absolutely, Susahash can solve it.
I know Susahash has his calculator below the camera, and he's figuring this out for us.
I don't need a calculator. It's pi over 5, man. It's just pi.
I want the equation. Send me the equation afterwards. All right, guys. Well, listen. I think we've kept these ERs hostage long enough, including Rachel here. So, thank you so much, Rachel. Thanks for being a good sport, and really appreciate you joining the team, the crew, the crew. Now you're part of the crew, and your talent still. So, welcome to the crew side of things too. And ERRs, we'll see you on Tuesday. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Do some damage with your projects, and reach out to Paul. He's going to put up his phone number below here for anybody who wants to call him all weekend. Yeah. Please call him lots on the weekend, by the way.
Right, that's absolutely fine with me. Like, I wish I was being sarcastic. Like, some of my most productive meetings happens on the weekend.
I'm being facetious, but you know what? Honestly, that was very gracious, Paul. And in fact, all the coaches are quite good with that. So if you want to reach out to any of us anytime, we're trying to always be available for you. And thanks everybody. It was an awesome session. Awesome to see. Yeah, and thanks again, Paul. I was teasing you a lot today. I apologize. I had my machine gun, like I said, but it's all love. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, sure, Emery. Whatever you say, buddy. But that's it. Like, Emery and I, we've gone through enough. We overlap with a bunch of companies in the consulting that we do on the side as well. So like we spend more than enough time together. So we're genuinely, I don't think I'm a mean person unless I tend to really like you. And then as long as it's matched, like Emery and I were entirely professional and polite for like the first, 6 months that we knew each other. It's like, oh, absolutely, sir. Yes. No, that would be great if you could send that over. Like, and now it's just evolved into debauchery and sarcasm.
Yeah. It's quickly devolved, but it's good. It's fun.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
It's like, me too. I'm waiting for where we can hang out on the patio together when I get back to Canada. So
drinks are on me as soon as you get here.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Yeah, Susash too. Yeah, well, we'll have to drag Carl along and then hang out with Rachel there too when we get there.
Everyone's always invited. I mean, I'm happy to go and sit, outside on a patio and have whoever is in Toronto or wants to join us. We'll bring phones if you want to just kind of hang out with us for a bit and you're not in the country. I'm looking forward to that too.
Pull Rachel back from New York again. Get her back into Canada. Stop with the brain drain, US. Come on, stop stealing all our best talent. Awesome, guys. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend.
Yep, have one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, EIRs. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye. Bye.